Hello, everyone. Today I'm in Qandil Mountains, where I'm hosting Zagros Hiwa, spokesperson for the Kurdistan Communities Union, KKK, where today in the Qandil Mountains, the Kurdish freedom movement had an announcement in which they reiterated their commitment for peace, and they took the second measure in the peace process in response to the PKK founder, Abdullah Öcalan. Hello, Zagros.
Hello, you are most welcome to Qandil.
Thank you so much. After so many years, we are meeting in the Qandil Mountains. And today, the PKK, in which was striking for me, where they issued a statement under the name of the Kurdish freedom movement, not under the name of the PKK. So if you go back to the first announcement of the peace initiative by Davlat Bakhchali that led to today's statement, if I ask you, how do you assess the peace process that has started for almost a year now?
First of all, I would like to congratulate you on your new project, Amargi. I hope that it will represent a breakthrough in Kurdish media.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. The peace process till now has been, let's say, propelled by the unilateral steps of the Kurdish freedom movement. After long years of struggle, particularly military struggle against the Turkish state, Leader Apo called on our movement to embark on new strategy and to abandon the old strategy of military struggle and embark on the strategy of democratic politics in order to open new ways for the solution of the Kurdish question. The steps that have now been taken are mostly unilateral. I mean, the call by Leader Apo for peace and democratic community, followed by the unilateral ceasefire, and then the PKK convened its 12th Congress, and there they decided to dissolve their present organizational structure. And after that, before the witness of the world, a group of our comrades who called themselves the Group for Peace and Democratic Community, they burned their weapons to manifest our sincerity and our seriousness in the steps that we have taken in the change of strategy. But as far as the Turkish side is concerned, till now they have not taken any concrete, practical steps for the process to go on. Particularly, the regime of isolation against Leader Apo still continues. He has been under solitary confinement situations for nearly 27 years in Imrali prison. He said that I assume responsibility for this process. But for him to be able to fulfill his responsibility, the Turkish side has not provided him with the necessary conditions of free life, of free working conditions, of security, in order for him to be able to lead the process, to manage the process. So all these developments show that the Turkish side has not changed its political course toward the Kurds. Still, the policy of denial continues, represented by not allowing the Kurdish mothers to speak Kurdish in the Parliament Commission. Also, their policies still are anti-Kurdish, especially their threats against Rojava. Despite all this, we are still pushing forward to create new grounds, to set new grounds for the process to go forward. And the statement that the Kurdish freedom movement issued today, it represents the start of a second phase in the process. I mean, a group of guerrillas withdrew from North Kurdistan, from the part of Kurdistan within Turkey, they withdrew to immediate defense zones in order to prevent possible provocations, possible clashes with the Turkish army, provocations that could lead to obstacles in the process.
You said the peace process has been unilateral. However, we can also see that in the Turkish parliament, there is also a commission. And yes, it is true that Öcalan is still in the confinement in İmralı prison. However, he has been able to talk to the Kurdish delegation and also to the Turkish state. At the same time, there have been positive responses from the Turkish state. For example, there is a ceasefire, although the Turkish state has not announced a ceasefire, but there are no more drone attacks, or, we cannot see fighter jets. Don't you think that's also positive response from the Turkish state?
As far as the Apo is concerned, there are some matters related to him that are his rights. So if those rights that has been denied from him, now there is let's say, kind of flexibility in reimbursing them, in giving them back. Those cannot be regarded as steps by the Turkish state. For example, lawyers, advocates should be able to meet leader Apo. He's a political prisoner, and he's subject to Turkish law and also international law. So it is quite natural, the most inherent right for him to be able to visit his lawyers, the advocates. But he had been denied of that right. So giving those rights back should not be regarded as a step. They are his rights, his most natural, legitimate rights. Also, as far as the commission is concerned, okay, the commission has covered a lot of issues, has listened to many parts, many sides. But till now, they have not decided to go to İmralı and to visit the person, to listen to the person, to the political leader who has started this process. So it means that they are not sincere. They are buying time only, a kind of Fabian policy. So if somebody has started the process with his call, he has managed to do something which no other people could have done it. Dissolve the solution of the PKK. Getting the PKK leave the military struggle strategy. Getting the PKK burn their weapons. So how could a commission in the parliament look the other way and neglect such a fact? And leader Apo is the one whom they should have met first. But now there is still discussion: should we meet him? Should we not meet him?
But haven't the Turkish state, because we understand the complexity of the Turkish state.
Okay.
There is deep state, there are army, there is intelligence, there is the economic, financial community. In a way, they have talked to Mr. Öcalan in prison, in which, in a way, the state has started peace process beyond the government, beyond the parliament. Don't you think it is as such?
Only talks cannot be regarded as steps. It is talks. Till now, they have not turned into negotiation. They have not evolved into negotiations. In negotiation, you have two sides. For any negotiation, the two interlocutors should be in equal positions.
But aren't you in the equal position? But as far as I have read, as far as I have understood the peace process now, so the Turkish state for the first time has taken the PKK as a legitimate political or armed group in which they have started peace process. That's why at the beginning, someone like Davlat Bahçeli, who is the representative of the Turkish state or the deep state, for the first time legitimized the Kurdish freedom movement. And don't you think that this is the taking PKK seriously as a equal party in the peace process? However, we also understand peace processes are long way to go
compared to the steps that we have taken, the concrete steps that we have taken, the resolution, the resolve, the dedication that we have shown. The Turkish side, in practice, I can say that they have done nothing. They have done nothing. There is only a rhetoric, mere rhetoric. Okay, they are talking about fraternity between Kurds, Turks, Arabs, those things. They are talking about that. Even many times, they are rewarding and repeating what Literatul states, maintains in the meetings that he has. But till now, in the press, they have not changed their language. If they are sincere, why should the Turkish parliament extend the permission for cross-border operation into Syria and Iraq? So when it comes to those serious practical steps, you see that old policies still continue. Of course, in some parties within the state, within the government, they may have changed their rhetoric. But when it comes to the to practice, you see that practice is the same as before. Now, even last year, again, they extended they call it tazkere, permission for cross-border operation. This year, they again extended it. So, who are they operating against? The Kurds. The Kurds in Iraq, the Kurds in Syria. And still, you may have noticed the issue, the statement by Hataga, People's Defense Forces. In North Kurdistan, still military operations are still continuing. Of course, the intensity may not be as before, may not be high as before, but still military operations continue. Still, let's say espionage activities, intelligence operations against our movement still continue. As a part who is supposed to be the second part of this process, till now they have been buying time for this against all those, against 5 unilateral steps that we have taken.
Militarily activities of the Turkish state is parallelly going with the peace process against or with the PKK. But then what makes you or the party hopeful that this peace process and with all its complexity that goes to the right direction?
We are a freedom movement, Kurdistan freedom movement. And freedom does not come by itself. You have to wage a struggle for it. In line with the call of leader Apo, we believe in his paradigm, we trust him, we believe in his paradigm, and what he says, what he has foreseen for the future. You cannot wage a struggle without hope. From now on, our struggle has not ended. The method of a struggle has changed. The strategy of the struggle has changed. But struggle has not finished. And for you to wage a struggle, you have to be hopeful. You have to be hopeful. We hope that this process will succeed. And we have been taking unilateral steps in order to encourage the other side, to get the other side also to take practical steps, at least to enact its own law, to enact its own law, to decrease those operations against the Kurdish democratic politics.
What's that thing which is different from this time in the peace negotiations with the Turkish state that makes particularly the PKK to remain hopeful, considering the parallel Turkish policy toward the peace on one side, war on the other side, peace? Apart from that, we understand since 1988, in which Mr. Öcalan, in one of his interviews with Mahmoud Ali Biran, he called for peace, and then 1993, 1997, 2000, 2006, 2009, 2013, 2015. All these peace process and negotiations failed, and the PKK has accused the Turkish state for the failure of the entire processes of the peace negotiations. But what is that thing which is very particular in this time that PKK remains hopeful?
Okay. This time, more parties within the Turkish political system are involved.
Who are these parties?
I mean, the parties that are in the parliament, except for one party, the other parties, they have said in words that they support the process. Also, the parliament is more involved internally. I'm talking about internal factors. Also, the situation in the Middle East is more conducive to such a process now. The Middle East is undergoing a turmoil, deep changes. And for the Kurds and for the Turks, in order to make the best use of these changes, there is no way better than peace and democratic society. And also, from 2015 till 2025, the Turkish army followed a plan, a subversion plan. In Turkish, they call it çöptürme planı. They used all the resources of the state, in order to eliminate the PKK, but they couldn't. They couldn't eliminate the PKK, and now they have come to the point that, okay, we have to come into terms with this reality that we cannot eliminate the PKK. There should be new ways. Still, it is not known that if this new way is peace or it is a game of peace, that they want to buy time to prepare themselves militarily more and more and to restart the attacks again. Because in the previous peace process, started in 2013, they used that time, 2-year span time, in order to prepare themselves and to make up a new plan called çöptürme planı. Now, with that bill in the parliament to allow the army have cross-border operations, it seems that still they are testing the waters. Could we again start such a thing against the Kurds, against the PKK? On our side, we trust Leader Apo. We are following his paradigm. We have followed his call, and we will wage a struggle for the success of this process. Though unilaterally. And we hope that the other side also will take practical steps. Till now, we see no concrete changes in the mentality and the policies of the Turkish state toward the Kurds. You may remember the event. The commission that had been set up in the parliament to solve the Kurdish question, that very commission forbidden the Kurdish question from being spoken in the parliament. That is a manifestation of the code, of the codes of the Kurdish state, their policy against the Kurds.
What are the practical steps you want from the Turkish side to take so that then we can call this peace a peace process?
This process was initiated by Leader Apo. Leader Apo should be physically free. He had stated that I take the historical responsibility for this process. He should be free in order to lead the process, to represent the Kurdish side in the negotiations. This is first and foremost condition for this process to go on. Also, political and legal amendments should be made. I mean, new law should be made and enacted in the Turkish parliament so that they could cover the Kurdish, they could address the Kurdish issue. The Turkish parliament should make laws for democratic integration, should make laws of freedom. Okay, PKK has dissolved itself. Okay, so what would these people do in the future? There should be a democratic integration.
As you mentioned, you need a transitional law to be made in Turkey so that the peace process will take its legal processes. After this transitional law was passed by the parliament, and then what's going to happen?
There will be democratic integration, laws of democratic integration, that those people who have been subjected to the oppressions and repressions of the government can get integrated into Turkish politics. Also, the constitution of Turkey should not disenfranchise the Kurds, should not otherize the Kurds. The Kurds should not feel that they are outside of that constitution. The constitution should be rewritten in a way that the Kurds will not get alienated. And also the Turkish army has invaded large swathes of land in Iraq and Syria. If they are sincere in peace, they should withdraw from those parts. You cannot talk about peace and at the same time extend your military operations and more strengthen your military bases and more fortify your military bases in Iraq and in Syria. I mean in Bashur and in Rojava.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zagros Hiwa, spokesperson for the Kurdistan Democratic Communities.
Thank
for
you
your
too.
time.
Thank you too.